Imagine if you were standing here in Japan and seeing Japanese audience must be so exotic. So it's great to exchange this experience. And today's topic from you is basically two aspects. One is the contemporary Japanese culture, animation, Japanimation, and then one is the orthodox Japanese, culture, traditional culture, animism, kind of the religion we believe. Those 2 points are anima. Anima is the soul. Everything has a soul in Japanese culture. And this Japanese culture is very much formed with these two mixed culture of the subculture and the traditional culture. So let me begin the topic with this some kind of commercial achievement of this subculture, Japanese animation. Everywhere in the world nowadays, we have this costume players event like this. These three are one of the major events. In 1990s, it began from the small scale of this, couple of thousand, visitors. These are the visitors, numbers. And in 30 years, it became firmly goes up. Now it's 100 times more. Tons of the animation funds are gathering together. So it's everywhere, like in whole European continent, every weekend there are some kind of Japanese animation event, and the cosplayers are getting together and having fun together. So was in North American continent, and so was Southeast Asia. So that became such a good branding image of Japan, and including that, the cosplayers are going up high like that. And it became such a good branding, the image, so that young people start having the attraction, good feeling to Japan. So the number of this, foreign student is increasing, and look at the visitor, inbound tourists. It's going up high, especially in this century, 21st century. It's really going up high. Like already 20 million people are coming a year, and a lot of them are, initiated by this, initiated from the interest to Japan is, this Japanese animation. Japanese, the brand used to be only the high-tech gadget like Sony, Canon, or the Toyota's automobile. But now on top of it, this kind of animation character is, helping us to make a good image of Japan. Now here is, top-selling books in the world since 1980s. Of course, number one is the famous Harry Potter. 450 million copies they sold. It's amazing. But out of top 7, these yellow, 3 and 5 and 7 is a Japanese comics. The number 3 is this. Do you know this One Piece? And then number 5 is a Dragon Ball, and then number 7 is a Naruto. It's a ninja movie. And then they were all together of them is like 1 billion copies they're selling. It's an amazing number. And out of that, Dragon Ball Z is a hero. Main character is a Goku. You know Goku? He's a fighter and athlete, and he saved the crisis of the world many times in the story. And his famous signature technique, the Kamehameha, right? That Kamehameha is, his final weapon. Everybody in the world, the boys are believing, exercising at home. Do this. How can I do that? So, this Kamehameha is a final weapon. When he meets the, final evil, he beats up the enemy with this, crystal of this exercise of this weapon is a Kamehameha. And the Kamehameha is actually very much related, hinted from this old culture of Japan, which is the sumo. In order to understand that this Kamehameha's origin, you need to understand the sumo. So I give you some kind of sumo's, the essence from this today event. There are many kind of wrestling in the world, especially this old continent of the Eurasia, from the far east to far west, like the Canary Island to the Japanese island. All around the continent, there are many of this wrestling. Now, most of them has a long history, like more than 1,000 years of the history, like a Greco-Roman to the Turkish oil wrestling to the this Mongolian wrestling, and one of them is the sumo. Sumo is very different from others. This apparently the sumo wrestler is much bigger than the other wrestlers, right? But not only the outlook, but actually what's inside. what's the, the message, what makes sumo is very different. I give you the three features, unique features of the sumo wrestling compared to other wrestling today. One unique feature is that no weight class in the sumo wrestling. Sumo wrestling is a Japanese, professional wrestling. In any kind of this martial arts in the world, from the wrestling to the judo, boxing, karate, or anything, they have the weight class in order to be the fair, right? That's because if you are born as a small guy, you have no chance to win against a big guy. But sumo, in order to be the professional sumo wrestler in Japan, only one condition, 67 kilograms. More than that, you can be the professional, sumo wrestler. How can it be possible? Is this. Sumo, this is a famous, the rivals. One is a Morinosuke, and one is a Kunishiki. The Morinosuke is well known as one of the smallest sumo wrestlers, and the Kunishiki, on the other hand, is the biggest, 3 times bigger. But look at the result. They met, they had a match in the athlete life, 12 times match. The Morinosuke was winning. How come? Famous comment of the Morinosuke, when he, have the game with the Koinishiki is a gigantic meat wall in front of me, 3 times bigger. But the rule was really clever. In order to win the sumo wrestling, in simple 2 rules. In this small ring of the 4.5, the diameter, if you are just pushed out of the ring, you are out. Or if any part of the body touches to the ground, you lost. That's too simple. So that average time of the game is only 8.1 seconds. It's done. So short, so quickly done. So that degree of the freedom was so regulated. Therefore, there is an opportunity for the small guy to win against the big guy. So the message is the global understanding of the fairness is, okay, you are small, you are big, so let's make the category of the weight class. But the sumo idea is the audience wanted to see the moment the small guy could win against the big guy, talent. The skill can overcome the talent. That was the message of the sumo. The unique point, too, is the victory pose is prohibited in sumo wrestling. Any kind of sports in the world, if you do the good job, if you shoot kick the goal, you can do this. Victory pose, you did it. And nobody even wonder. Of course, you did a good job, good for you. But in sumo wrestling, it's strictly prohibited to do this victory pose. Look at this, such a contrast of these 2 wrestling winning. One is the European style wrestling, the Olympic game. Once the game is over, the judge is raising up the winner's hand. Here is a winner, here is a loser. And they show it to the audience. Here is a winner. They even flip to the opposite side. Here is a winner and a loser. That's the definition of the win. And sometimes even the money prize is on the board. You became the champion. So you got $100,000, good for you. But in Japan, the sumo wrestler is a professional wrestler so that they get the money prize, but they are never supposed to show the emotion. And even that, they do the 3 chops to get the money, to purify the money. Because that's a samurai spirit. Instead of the real duel, they did the wrestling. So if you win, it means the other guy is dead. So it means respect the other loser's emotion. If somebody is win, it means somebody is lost. And then that's why you are not supposed to show that victory winning pose. Any other sports, these are all, the globally known this martial arts, from fencing to the boxing. The bottom line is Japanese equivalent sports. Fencing is kendo, archery is kyudo, the wrestling is sumo, and the boxing is karate or judo. And they all do this the guts pose, it's a winning pose. But kendo, judo, sumo, they're strictly prohibited. And even sometimes, if you do this win is disqualified. You're out. But look at carefully the judo. This Japanese athlete is doing this because it became the Olympic sport and globalized. So that once it's internationalized, it becomes a global standard. So that it's such a dilemma for the sumo or kyudo or kendo association people. They want the sports to be the international, but at the same time, they might lose some very important spirit of that. The third unique point of the sumo is the judge declares the winning technique when the game is over. There are 82 patterns of the winning. It's defined by the Sumo Association in Japan. So once you win, like a number 5, overarm throw. So once the game is over in 8 seconds, the judge says the name, scream the name of the winner, the Mainomi, the winner. And at the same time, he has to clarify how he won. Overthrown, overarm thrown, by overarm thrown or something. It means how to win, we Japanese but are very much concerned about. How beautifully he won. Of course, it's athlete, so if you win or lose is very important information, but at the same time, how he won is very important. That's why the judge has to clarify how he won and register that name of that skill forever. Therefore, the story comes back to the Kamehameha. Any kind of Japanese, the hero in the animation, when they do the final weapon to the end of the story, like a Kamehameha, or that Captain Majid is doing the driving shoot, or this Gatling, or the breast fire, or the rider kick, or anything, they have to shout at the end of the story to beat the enemy. That's how it is. It's not only the win or lose, but how he won. That's expected. How beautifully he won. The process is important. So the 3 learning from the sumo through this, the famous one is a no weight class. It means your effort, your skill can overcome your talent, just the body size. The number 2 is no victory pose is allowed. If you win, it means somebody lost. So you have to respect that person's emotion. The third one is a final weapon. You have to name how he won. So process is important. If you win or not, of course it matters, but how you won is important. That's the message. Subliminally, through watching this animation, kids are educated every day. So those, the stereotypes, the world well-known heroes I was talking about, something we could learn. But there are unknown in overseas street heroes. There are many street heroes you can see on the street if you come and visit Japan. I introduce one of them today. It's the famous Uncle Bar. This is a construction site, typical construction site, and there is a signboard here. And look at that. There's an Uncle Bar is buying. Why? Because this construction site is making a lot of noise and fume and the bad smell to the neighborhood. So he represents the construction company. I'm sorry to bother you. So sorry for your inconvenience. So that's important for Japanese construction company. The origin, 1950, it was already born, it's known. This was the first model. Since then, in every single construction site, the guys are apologizing to the neighborhood. For these 67 years, there are many of them, it's a diversity. It's like a evolution tree. Some are dude shape and some are gari and some are even monkey. But they are all apologizing to the neighborhood. So if you come and visit Japan, look carefully about any construction site. These guys, any construction company wants to make their own original design. It's like a Galapagos evolution, right? So real guy is also, of course, apologizing. The up one is a global standard of the construction scene. The guy is doing this, slow down or the stop. Of course, it's necessary, essential work for him to keep the driving safety, the traffic safety. But at the same time in Japan, guys have to apologize to the neighborhood representing the construction site. So if you come and visit Japan, you can meet one of those guys. They are apologizing to the neighborhood. Check another construction sign is this. Instead of this apologizing guy, here is this digital visualization of the noise and the vibration. This means how much the construction company, I know we are making a lot of noise and vibration, we are sorry. But, it's like apologizing. Instead of this guys apologizing, we are visualizing how much noise we are creating. Let's check out this road construction signboard. Left-hand side is a global standard, men at work. It's so clear message, right? Men at work. So you be aware of it. But on the right-hand side, there are many of these guys apologizing. On top of it, this guard, barricade guard. is protecting the pedestrian, barricade guard, wearing the cute helmet, right? She's a girl. She wears a kimono. And she wears a lot of type of kimono. Depends on the season. Our famous Hello Kitty is protecting the barricade from the pedestrian to keep the safety of this road traffic, right? So many types of animals are all, it's like a happy wonderland, right? But it's not. It's just a public space. This is not a Disneyland, but that's how the Japan is. Very different, right? Even indoor, workers are apologizing. Like this, the bank lady, or the shop lady, or the bus stop, or the taxi, or they are all apologizing. I'm sorry to let you wait, or I'm sorry for your inconvenience. Like that, cleaning stuff, public, the toilet. They are cleaning right now, so the temporary signboard is apologizing to the users. I'm sorry for your inconvenience. We're going to finish soon. The real, this is a famous 7-minute miracle cleaning show of the Shinkansen. If you come and visit the Shinkansen platform, you got to check it. You can see from the waiting the platform, once the Shinkansen comes, they open the door, this team jump into the car, they clean the whole car in 7 minutes, and then bow to once it's departing, they bow to the people. That's so nice. Check out you can check on the YouTube. Uncle Bow's sister is working in the bus ATM. Here she is. You can see a lot of type of, she smiles and bows and say, sorry to let you wait, how can I help you? And again, there are many types. Each bank design their own original guards to, apologizing. They are all apologizing. So what they teach us subliminally to the child or everybody is be nice. Do not make a trouble to the other people. And then don't be arrogant. And don't be selfish. And the final message is have the courage to apologize from your side. If you are not confident, you don't apologize. But so that you said, I'm not wrong, I'm correct. Then the whole thing goes into the wrong direction. But if you're confident, you apologize. Then things goes well. That's the teach from this guy. I was talking about this kind of bowing people. At the same time, there are many mascots cheering up this country too. These are the typical. Check on the commuter train. It's a crowded train, stressful commuting. But look at that. At the door, you see this Hello Kitty and it's saying, watch your finger. It's dangerous. Stay away from it. It even has a bandage on it. This is not a Disneyland train. This is just a commuting business. People are, squeezed into it. There are many type of in each train company they are competing the design of these characters. Our famous Pokemon or, the Doraemon, and so many type of the cutie pies are alarming. Watch your fingers. Here is a global standard survey. It's so scary, inorganic, right? It even says danger of the risk of the death, right? It's so scary. So I wish they could accept this idea of the Hello Kitty on the train. Then it's going to be something different, right? This kind of mascot is existing and dancing everywhere. Look at this. Every single this serious event like anti-drug activity or anti-gang campaign, there is such a soft material is dancing. Look at that. That's a defense. Which kind of army has a mascot? Only in Japan. And the police mascot is Peepokun. Peepokun is working hard, just like that, so that the children do not get scared of seeing the police officer on the street. If they have the problem, police officer is their brother, so you can talk nice. It's easy. That's how the Peepokun is working for. They have the cousins and the family and the cousins. This prosecuting office or the Ministry of the Justice, they have this mascot. They are competing, the bureaucrats, right? Hard-boiled bureaucrats are competing how cute mascot they can create. But policemen, the Peepokun, this island of Japan is actually a big country. So it's too hard for him to cover them all. 47 prefectures, province. What happened is this. Every single prefecture has their own mascot of the police department, so that they're working hard instead of the people, because it's so big country, right? So as this Hello Kitty is the ambassador, tour guide of the Japan, but same. It's a big country, 47 prefecture. You know what's coming, right? 47 tour guide ambassadors are working hard to attract the visitors. Some are like an oyster, or some are like a Mount Fuji shape. Oyster is that's some prefecture is famous. The product, the oyster. That's why the spirit of the oyster is attracting the people. Come and visit us. This Osaka is one of the 47 prefectures, and it consists of the 33 cities. Look at that. Every single city has the mascot again. So they are all attracting to each city. So it's like a fractal structure, it's a mandala. Every single thing, go more into it, there is some spirit. Everywhere there is the anima in Japan. Japanese even have the memorial service for everything. I've seen the Kentucky Fried Chicken here. Kentucky Fried Chicken memorial service we have. 150 countries franchise everywhere, the big market, right? Once a year, the board member get together at the very famous shrine in Kyoto City, including that Colonel Sanders statue there, right? And what they do is pray to the spirit of the chicken. Thank you, chicken. Because of that, we can make a profit. Because of your sacrifice, you can eat. Thank you, chicken. What kind of this board member? Maybe if it's in the other countries, the stockholder will be claiming you got to work instead of doing this, right? Tombstone of the bacteria exists. Like left-hand side is a fermented food, miso soup. Miso is like a fermented soybean, right? It's like a cheese. So we need the essence of this yeast. So we have this, every single factory have this small tombstone of the yeast. Thank you, yeast. Because of that, we can make a profit. Even the bacteria scientists, bioscientists have the only one tombstone of the bacteria in the world existing in Japan. In order to develop this new medicine, you have to kill a lot of bacteria for the experiment, right? So they thought, oh, poor bacteria. So we should, chant them, right? So that's how they make it. It's, for some of them, it's a crazy idea, right? But that's how Japanese are. Even non-creature, like a doll, we have the ceremony. Okay, you're a teddy bear you grew up with, but now you are moving somewhere, so you got to dump it. But you feel so pity on this doll, right? Then don't worry about it. Go to the shrine and then put together. The shrine master suck the spirit and then put it on that stick and then burn it and then send to the heaven. So you can dump it without this fear. Or not even doll, tool. Like scissors or knife, we have the chanting ceremony, dedication. Like the famous one is the needle ceremony. This is stick of the metal. This needle has been struggling with the hard material, that's why it's bent or broken. So let's send to the heaven, but before that, let him experience what the softness is. Therefore, they put it to the tofu, or it's like a jelly, softness. Just imagine if you're born as a needle, you're dead, but before going to the heaven, wow, that's great soft, right? That's how the Japanese, it's not a new culture. It's been doing like this. Our ancestor has been doing for 100 years. And I'm proud of it. For most of them, it's so eccentric, I know that. Even final run ceremony we have a lot of trains in these countries. Many of them retires. Every weekend, we have this retire ceremony. Look at the top head of the design. There is a signboard that says, sayonara arigato. Goodbye. Thank you for the type EF70. Right? It's not a Shinkansen or super bullet train. It's just an ordinary train for commuting. But they appreciate the hard work. And they come and, last chance, take a photo and then thank you to the people. It's like that. It's not only the child. The adult guy is coming and the last chance to say thank you. Thank you for hard working. So it's not just a tool, hard-boiled, just a metal tool for us. From the needle to this, the train, it can be humanized partner. So partner, once upon a time, it used to be this kind of man-machine man-made machine was appreciated. They were treated as a nicely. They even wear the leather jacket. But nowadays, high-tech gadgets are all naked because they consider it as a disposable function. It's so dry relation. Well, just remember before, humanization is not just the childish fantasy world. If you humanize things, you treat it nicely. You try to use it as long as possible because it has a soul in it. So it's a kind of another way to achieve this sustainability. So what I was talking about, this contemporary culture's animation like a Kamehameha, through this sumo wrestling, or any other the event I was explaining, first topic was this sumo wrestler or the Kamehameha, this Dragon Ball guy. Small can beat the big. That was important. There was no, the class of weight class. And do not show off if you win. You're just lucky you won this time. Just consider the loser's emotion. And how to win is important. Win or lose is important, but how you won was important. Second, the bowing guy, Uncle Bow, was teaching the kids and everybody subliminally, respect the neighbor, do not bother the people. And then the main message is do not afraid of apologizing to the other partners. The third message is the cherish the product, humanization. Then remember this needle service. If you think this has the spirit and you treat as a partner, then something else would happen. So this must have been so strange for you guys, but I hope this could inspire you something each other. Thank you very much.